My key ingredient is birch syrup. It was given to me by Mike Simmons, and I was certainly not surprised when he gave it to me because he has been obsessed with birch syrup for years. Birch syrup is exactly what it sounds like. It is a syrup that is made from the sap of the Alaskan paper birch tree. So it is made just exactly the same as maple syrup is through a process of boiling and evaporation. But it has a very different flavor. The pork collar, we brined it. We used actually birch beer in brining it, which they make birch syrup, or make birch beer from birch syrup. So as hard it is to find birch syrup, birch beer is not that hard to find. The pork collar is the cut that goes from the nape of the neck down through the top part of the shoulder. We took it off, we brined it for 10 hours, then we pulled it out, let it air dry for a bit, and then smoked it for about 10 hours. So we're gonna render out some of that fat, get some color on the pork collar, and then after that we're gonna work on the glaze. The taste of birch syrup is much more savory. It's got kind of a nice minerality to it, a little bit of an acidity, and I think it lends itself much better than maple syrup to savory applications. In the meantime, we're gonna make a little bit of a gas streak with the glaze, and we're gonna use that to glaze these caramelized onions with. So the difference between the gas streak and the glaze is simply that we're using a lot of vinegar in the gas streak, whereas the glaze we're just using pork stock and butter. And then the syrup burns very easily, so you never want to put it in the pan. We're gonna keep glazing them with that vinegar.
So Mike Simmons talked about it, but he never actually got it and cooked with it?
No, he cooks with it all the time. I had never tasted it or cooked with it before, but he has told me about it for years. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try it sometime. But it's one of those things that it's not really around. It's hard to find, it's such a small batch, it's very expensive. Like a small 8-ounce bottle is probably like $25 or $30. Go to the oven. Cabbage and Yukon Gold potatoes. Beautifully glazed pork collar. These little onions with the nice birch gas streak on there to cut through the acidity. And then we're going to finish the whole dish with a little bit more.
Seems a nice woodsy dish by the fire.
Definitely less sweet than maple syrup. That just has a really nice round kind of caramel flavor, and it doesn't, and a nice spice to it. But it's not really like intensely specific. Like I don't think I would taste it. Like when you taste maple syrup, you're like, oh yeah, that's maple syrup. This is kind of an ingredient I think that can lend itself well to a lot of things and blend in and add a really nice roundness without being like in your face. He's someone I've admired and looked up to for a very long time. He is incredibly talented. They are the seed of the lovage plant. They're often used in Indian cuisine, and I think it would be really fun to see what Brian comes up with.